I rely way too much on drawing with way too many brushes. Just bringing or taking anything I could find to make something look comprehensible. And I've been noticing a pattern lately that all those brushes aren't as noticeable when looking at the final product. So I wanted to test out if I actually needed all of them. And the first thing I did was make one. And then I set a rule that that's the only brush I'll use for this illustration. It's kind of obvious here that I didn't really have a plan on what to do, but I kind of just set a brush that felt like it worked well with colors. Something I could just work in multiple ways and see if I can actually let my own creativity drive it. And I think that was kind of the problem I had when it came to my multitude use of different brushes. I think I kind of just relied on them too much and hoped that they would actually make it look nice instead of relying on something that I could do. I actually just felt very relaxed to just blob around and then eventually actually find an image or a vision that I could use. I had no forethought on what I wanted, but it actually worked out before I knew it. And it's just kind of, as you see here, I was starting to think, I guess. The brain cells were coming in, and I actually started seeing something I could make with the blues and the yellow. I already had a feeling that I was gonna make my favorite character, or my favorite OC, which is, I guess, getting pretty more popular lately. I don't know if you know him, but if you look through my reels, his name is Naren. Just a guy that goes through my too much of my imagination, and I just love playing or doing things with his vents, the yellow things that he uses to express or visually make it look like he's different. I was actually really happy with how the brush turned out. It has some nice texture and makes it look grainy. I always liked the painterly feel. And if you checked out my store, insomnific.com, it's actually called Pastel. And I actually came up with the idea because once I finished this drawing, which you'll hopefully see in the end, it looks like texture of a pastel. And it was not a happy mistake, because I wouldn't call it a mistake, but it was convenient because I really liked it. And the colors really worked well together, and I just realized that, oh, if I can just change sizes, abuse the lasso tool and colors, and do whatever I wanted with it, then I think I actually don't need any other brush than this if I wanted to make any other illustration. I guess when it comes to picking out your brushes or knowing what tool to use when drawing that specific line, you have certain criteria or certain needs to be met when it came to drawing. Like, you'd need your hard edges, your soft edges, your textures, that, I don't know, that airbrush feeling, or something that fades well. But I think if you can just use your settings wisely, or textures or shapes or anything that involves making a brush or having a brush, then really I think you can sum any drawing up into just one brush if you really had the heart to. Here I wasn't necessarily in the flow state or whatever, but I was actually kind of hopeful with this drawing. I think it was something about how I did the face, the shadows, or blocked it out. It made me feel a presence, I guess. He looks like a faceless character even though his face is right there, you know what I mean? It's been a while since I've tried any art challenges or stuff like that before, but it's always it's always interesting to limit yourself, because it really tests out how creative you can be. And when I meant one brush, through the title or through the intro, I meant like literally one brush. Like every pen, every smudge tool, eraser, it's all the same pen. And the settings work well. I think looking back on all the footage and the illustration itself, one thing I kind of wanted to explore more is perhaps what would it be like if I actually tried it with lines. If I looking back on all my other illustrations, I'm very character orientated, and the way I draw the character also depends. Sometimes I use lines and structure and more organization, but this one was kind of more for the feel. When I'm really proud of it too, but kind of makes me want to test the limits. I've cut out lots of chunks where nothing just happens, but you can tell I'm thinking really hard. I have no plan whatsoever, and I think that's kind of what scared me. It's a slow process. Art's just like that. But when it comes to having multiple brushes, I feel like it makes you rush. It makes you just, oh, let me do this stroke and then do another more strokes and then come back there. I think I was pretty much done with the blocking here, but I was starting to get confused on what to actually work on, because I was actually really happy with the way it looked originally, and I didn't know what else to make it look better, because I knew that it wasn't finished. It was barely working out. So I was just hopping around trying to figure out what to do, doing little details like gradients and working on the hand, something to make it feel right. When I'm digital painting like this, usually at this stage I'd start finding other brushes, usually with like the Procreate built-in /free brushes, because I highly relied on the textures and stuff, trying to make it look full even though there wasn't much to look at. So with the one brush I had, I was working really hard on seeing if I could like work on the face or something, trying to make it look detailed by having a focal point of something. I don't know, anything to make it look interesting, I suppose. It's clear that like up till now I didn't really have much struggle with my one brush challenge and simply just doing whatever, but now I was like, oh man, I really don't know what to do. And then I was starting to actually dislike this because like the face wasn't looking right. I was chopping more off of the chin. I did not know where the light source was. Clearly his vents are glowing, so surely the light is going down and the light is hitting the face plates that are pointed down, but it didn't feel right at all. I was trying to put in more details, going into the lip, doing anything I could to make it make sense, but I was starting to really dislike this stage and didn't know if I could actually finish the challenge at all. Yeah, it was starting to turn out real bad, and I did not know how to save it. At some point here, I just completely gave up and was like, okay, if I don't like it, I might as well just start over. So I started erasing it here and was like, okay, it doesn't need all that because I was happy with how it looked already. I didn't really know the rules I set here, so I was like, surely I can at least change the colors a little bit, play around with it. And that's what I did. I made it more greenish. I pop out the yellow to a more brighter orange, I guess. And it gave me a better perspective. It's like, okay, how can I make this look better? Maybe change the composition, so I made some shadows there, made a spotlight. And I felt a lot more hopeful with these two changes. At this point, the brush wasn't the problem anymore. I was completely content with what I was using, and I kind of adjusted really well to it. I liked it a lot. So it was just mostly me versus the painting, I guess. And I started detailing again, applied more shadows. I was like, okay, maybe I should just stop caring about light sources. Maybe I could just pretend like it's not there. So I started doing some depth and did whatever I could to make it seem a bit more clean. Here I remembered some plain rules about like values and stuff, so I quickly made some saturation layer and put it on top, see if I can actually differentiate the colors with the background. Turns out the blue kind of like the blue of Naren kind of blended in too close to the spotlight, so I needed to lighten it up more, and I was really happy at how fast it popped out. Again, I was still bothered by the light sourcing, so I was hopeful that maybe I could try again with a little bit more. And I think it worked out a lot better. I liked how the eyes kind of blended in with the dark, so you could barely see it, but if you did zoom in, you could see it. And I guess I just came to the solution that maybe the shadows can just be in the bottom. I don't need to care too much. It looks nice, then the sense behind it doesn't need to matter. I think I was starting to near the end for this drawing. I didn't really know what else to add. It was kind of a simple composition, but it worked well, so I couldn't really complain. I think I was starting to worry more about the anatomy of it, because I kind of just lulled over the painterly feel, and I was like, wait, no, his arm isn't that big. So then I was kind of just doing the final steps. Here I wanted to make it look like there were flames, so I scattered some lasso around and did the brush, and whoa, it's doing that. Try to do the perspective blur, motion blur. It's okay, I guess. And then I just started playing around, trying to make it look cool. I was okay, maybe I could add the title to this drawing and make it look nice. So I tried to do it yellow, and then I was playing with the fonts and it's like found this really cool thing. I thought about making it a tattoo for the arm. I don't really know who the arm is or who the arm belongs to, but it looked okay, I guess. I wanted to make it a stamp in the end and settled with red or black. I think I ended up with black once I finished. So here's the final product. I didn't know what I was expecting when I started the challenge, but it definitely turned out a lot better than I expected. And if you guys want to try out the brush, there's also other brushes in there, really cool ones. There's one really cool pen, one for flat colors, and this one, pastel. So check out my website if you want to have those. And listed right here is my Patreon. Thank you to all of them. I don't think I have much else to say, so yeah, bye. I think I'll do another few more challenges or something.